Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. Hope your week is off to a strong start. Hope your week is going well, and that you, your family, your friends, everyone in your world is staying strong and staying healthy right now. And yes, the NFL kicked off their 2024 season, and as usual, it just feels like we've got a million narratives. But starting right now until February, we all basically have the task of trying to solve the mysteries of the NFL. What is true? What is accurate? What is a lie? What is not true? And as usual, it will not be easy. It won't be easy at all. The defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, hey, they got a tight win over the Baltimore Ravens in the Thursday night opener. And the Chiefs, legit, it looked like they might be even better offensively than last year. But will the defense be as good? And yes, I know the Chiefs had some help. Yes, they got a handful of friendly calls from the officials. And the crazy thing is, they don't need any help, but they get them. Will they continue to get those calls all year? Yeah, probably. I know when I said that on the NFL preview, you might have heard it and thought, oh, whatever. The Chiefs don't get that many calls. Yet you saw last Thursday, they get quite a few. What about the other team, though? What about the Baltimore Ravens? Are they any better than they were last year? I thought going into the season that monster running back Derrick Henry would give Baltimore a boost in that running game. Here's the catch. You actually have to give him the ball in order for that to happen. Baltimore didn't do much of that on Thursday night. Okay, so let's move on to Friday, where the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. And now the Packers, it sounds like, will be without quarterback Jordan Love for at least a few weeks. Now, we'll see if the Eagles can maintain that form they showed last Friday. But they sure looked better with running back Saquon Barkley in the lineup, didn't they? But again, we have questions that we've got to figure out. Will the Packers be able to survive until Jordan Love gets back? I'm not sure. And will the Packers head coach ever get any smarter? I'm really not sure about that. With the Packers trailing by 5 points in the fourth quarter, head coach Matt LaFleur chose to kick a field goal rather than go for it on a fourth down inside the Eagles' 10-yard line. Remember, a field goal does nothing for you. Of course, Green Bay only got the ball back at the very, very end in total desperation mode, and that eventually led to, that Jordan Love injury. But this isn't the first time this has happened. Because remember, back in 2021, NFC Championship, maybe if you're a Packer fan, you remember, or maybe you've chosen to block it out of your memory, the Packers had a 4th and goal against Tampa from the 8-yard line. They trailed by 8, just over 2 minutes left, and rather than give the ball to Aaron Rodgers with a chance to tie the game, Matt LaFleur kicked the field goal. Hey, they made the kick, but it didn't matter. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers easily ran out the rest of the clock, and the game was over. So is Matt LaFleur ever going to learn from these mistakes? Based on what I'm watching, no, I don't think he is, but we'll see. We'll see if the Packers are real. The Dallas Cowboys easily handled the Cleveland Browns, but my question coming out of this game was this good Cowboys? Or was it just bad Browns? Because once again, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson looks like he would rather be anywhere on the planet other than the football field. Oh, and by the way, there are more sexual assault allegations coming for him. So he might get that wish to come true, but it might not be going where he wants it to go. Not sure how to feel about either the Cowboys or the Browns. The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams played a really fun game on Sunday night. The Lions end up winning it in overtime. Okay, well, is the Lions defense a little better? Because it looked like they might be. It looked like that secondary in particular might be a little bit improved. Hey, that's an encouraging sign. On the other side, can the Los Angeles Rams stay healthy? Because they already got banged up and it was just week 1. Oh, and by the way, if you wondered if the Rams would miss Aaron Donald, yeah, they answered that question in overtime. The Lions just ran it right down their throat, and the Rams couldn't do anything about it. I've got a lot of questions about the Los Angeles Rams. The Chicago Bears beat the Tennessee Titans, and rookie quarterback Caleb Williams got his first win despite doing nothing whatsoever to help the cause. Now, is he going to start actually contributing? And I kind of feel bad for these rookies. It is tough for these guys. They dominate the preseason, but remember, they haven't seen any actual defenses. And then they get in a real game, they're seeing things they have never seen before at a speed they have never seen before. Will Caleb come around? I would think so. On the other side, you know who won't come around? Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. My goodness, he is absolutely horrible. The Los Angeles Chargers pushed around the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. But that Chargers offense didn't look very good. Do you realize that the Chargers managed just 9 points through 3 quarters against the Raiders? And the only thing worse than the Chargers offense was, well, the Raiders offense. They still don't have a quarterback. I know they're going with Gardner Minshew. Still doesn't look like he's the guy. And again, another confusing call. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce had a 4th and 1 on the Chargers' 43-yard line. You're down 6. There's 7 minutes left. He chose to punt. It makes me wonder, are these NFL coaches now just going full conservative? Because we've seen guys like Dan Campbell. We've seen guys like Brandon Staley, even worse, taking chances, gambling a little bit, going for it on 4th down, and it hasn't always worked out that well. Well, on Sunday, we saw a few guys getting real conservative. Even when everyone in the stadium thought they would go for it, nope, they're not going for it. The Miami Dolphins came back from a 14-point deficit to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Dolphins were helped at least a little bit by Jaguars running back Travis Etienne, who fumbled the ball as he was headed into the end zone and would have given Jacksonville a 17-point lead late in the 3rd quarter. Hey, he scores, that game's over. Instead, he gets the ball punched out, and the Dolphins respond with 13 straight points and get a big win. However, what are we looking at here in this game? I'm not exactly sure. Because the win hides the flaws. But the Dolphins, once again, had 0 run game. It can't take that away. You might even say it was detained.
Oh, no, you didn't.
And the Jaguars now have to figure out something. Because you had been in complete control of that game, and then you completely lost it. Hey, it's just week 1. You have Cleveland next. That is a very winnable game for Jacksonville. You need to rally, though. You have to forget that game. You can't let Miami beat you twice. You've got to get things together and come back and put together another good game and know, hey, this time we're going to put our foot on their neck and not let them back in it. Got a lot of questions about both Miami and Jacksonville after that game. We moved to Monday night, where the San Francisco 49ers easily handled the New York Jets. And what's crazy about it is they did it without running back Christian McCaffrey. He sat out with a muscle strain. Oh, and by the way, the Niners front office didn't inform anyone. I do expect some sort of fine to be handed down, because bettors had to be hot that they didn't find out Christian McCaffrey was sitting out until about 4 o'clock Monday afternoon. But I still have the same questions for San Francisco. do they ever slip up? I mean, historically, Super Bowl losing teams slip up. They don't look as good. And the Niners just keep going. Are you able to just push past those Super Bowl losses? Because if you are, hey, more power to you. It has felled a lot of good teams. Somehow San Francisco's like, well, we lost. Oh, well, I guess we just keep playing. I know they're talented, but my goodness. Meanwhile, on the other side, hey, here's a positive. The Jets at least kept quarterback Aaron Rodgers healthy. But will they ever actually do anything with all the talent that they have on that roster? That is not a roster without talent. They've got a lot of it, but they never seem to do much with it. You know, it was only week 1. We have 1 week in the books. But like I said, we will now be searching every week to try to figure out these different mysteries all season. It is what football is. It's not like basketball. It's not like baseball. It's not like hockey. You don't play 2-3 times a week and you don't have time to, kind of manage the facts and take a look at things and digest everything. We see them once a week and we try to figure out what is real and what is a lie.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
And it might take a while on some of these teams to figure out who they really are. In fact, it might take until very, very late in the season, December, January, even February maybe, before we know who they really are. Hey, today on the show, it wasn't just the NFL that was rolling along. We had a wild week in college football too. And we do also have a Daly Dose top 5 for you today. 3 rookie quarterbacks started for their teams in week 1. Only one of them actually won their game. Talked about Caleb Williams actually getting his first win. But does winning your opener actually mean anything? Okay, so week 2 in college football was basically expected to be pretty boring. A lot of unranked teams playing a lot of ranked teams. And why is it that these weeks always seem to be the weeks that are packed with upsets? On Saturday, we did get a few upsets, but we also got a number of really close calls. Now, that could tell us either the top-ranked teams are vulnerable, maybe more vulnerable than we like to think, or that all of this is way closer than we think. Maybe there are no truly great dominating teams. Right now, I see 2, maybe 3. Let's start off with the close calls. The number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide had to escape South Florida. I know. You see the 42-16 final score and you go, oh, that was a blowout. What are you talking about? It was not a blowout. Do you realize Bama held a 21-16 lead with just under 6 minutes remaining? I mean, is Bama at least a little bit vulnerable? Hey, if it was Nick Saban, we'd all go, no, of course not. They're going to rally. They're going to get better. Now you go, I don't know. Maybe they are. It's possible. Number 7, Oregon actually trailed unranked Boise State in the fourth quarter. They needed a 100-yard kickoff return in which the returner may have dropped the ball before he crossed the plane of the end zone in a celebration. And that is how they squeaked out that win. Hey, is Oregon vulnerable? Yeah, they are. In fact, if I'm Oregon, I'm getting real nervous about what I've seen in their first 2 games. Oregon does not look like a top 10 team right now. And I'll be honest, the way they've played their first 2 games, and they can get it going, they can turn it around, they don't really look like a top 25 team right now. They haven't played anyone good. What's going to happen when they do? Number 8, Penn State needed a second half comeback to get past Bowling Green. And Penn State, they really struggled to convert third downs all day long. That could be a concern when you get into Big Ten play and you need to move the chains. Penn State needs to figure some things out. Number 11, Utah lost 65-year-old quarterback Cam Rising to a hand injury, and they had to limp to a 23-12 win over Baylor. Now, we talked about this prior to the season in our college football preview. With Cam Rising facing osteoporosis at his age, Utah, it might be scary every week. I hate to point this out, and they are still my pick to win the Big 12, but it might be scary every week because you don't know when he's going to break down. And he did against Baylor, and it didn't look very good. You really need Cam Rising to, I don't know, get AARP or Medicare or something. He's got to stay healthy. If not, you're going to be in some trouble. The number 15 Oklahoma Sooner offense looked very average, and the Sooners had to hold on for dear life to beat Houston 16-12 at home. Remember when you just saw Oklahoma roll up like 40 points a game? Yeah, those days are over. Number 16, Oklahoma State needed not one, but 2 overtimes to beat unranked Arkansas. Running back Ollie Gordon scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. They stole a game in which Oklahoma State was down by 14 points at one time. A little bit scary there. And the Kansas State Wildcats also needed to come back and a 60-yard fumble return to hold off an upset against Tulane. Again, that's a little scary for a team that has been considered a favorite to win the Big 12 this year. But you know what? If you had a close call in week 3 and you won, you better just consider yourself lucky because it could have been much, much worse. After getting a huge win last week against Texas A&M, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish got upset by Northern Illinois. I know it was just one game, but Notre Dame only has a few ranked teams on their schedule. And if those teams slip, that schedule gets a lot softer. Okay, they beat A&M. If you just win the games that you should, you'll probably go to the college football playoff because the media is going to put you up there. But a loss at home to Northern Illinois in which you are favored by 28.5? Oh, that throws a wrench in the works. Hey, the Irish can't throw the ball. Quarterback Riley Leonard, he is a solid runner, but he is really struggling in that passing game. Can Notre Dame still make the playoff? They're going to have some things break right. Because again, you're going to need those teams on your schedule to keep winning. And I don't think that schedule is that great. USC is probably the only team that has any chance of doing that. Notre Dame could now, after a loss to Northern Illinois, be in some serious trouble. And I thought they would skate to the playoff now. Now I'm not so sure. Number 19, Kansas, was expected to have this high-scoring offense this year, but that wasn't the case on Saturday. Illinois held them to just 141 passing yards and beat them in Lawrence 23-17. You know who might be a top 25 team? Illinois. And I can't believe I'm saying that. You know, we know that number 21 Iowa, we know they can't score points. They just can't. They win games, 5-2, whatever. But we didn't think they would let in-state rival Iowa State come to Iowa City and come back from down 13 and upset them. Iowa State 20, number 21 Iowa 19. It's a big loss for Iowa. Going to the ACC after winning that opener against Florida State and Ireland. Remember how exciting that was? Georgia Tech was feeling it. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, they were feeling strong. They had even been given a number 25 ranking this past week. But it turns out that Georgia Tech might not be that good. It might just be that Florida State is awful because Syracuse racked up over 500 yards on Georgia Tech on Saturday and beat them 31-28. Now, again, these could just be freak upsets. 18 and 19-year-old kids can have a bad week. But are some of these games actually signs that teams we were thinking highly of prior to the season could have some very dangerous flaws? And if so, could those flaws rear their ugly heads later in the year? I think they might. Either way, I can't wait to find out. Now, as we do so many weeks here at the Daily Dose, we need to get over to our Daily Dose Top 5. Chicago Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, the top pick in the NFL draft, won his NFL debut on Sunday. But, remember when you were in school and you had to do one of those stupid group projects and that dumb kid that did nothing somehow got teamed up with a couple of really smart kids, and don't look now, but the dummy gets an A. Well, that was basically what Caleb Williams did on Sunday. Caleb went just 14 of 29 for 93 yards. He had no touchdowns. But the Bears scored a touchdown on a block punt and on an interception return when Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis went all Will Levis on us. Well, it wasn't just Caleb that looked below average on Sunday. 3 rookies made their debut on Sunday, and none of them looked very good in doing so. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix went 26 of 42 for just 138 yards. He had 2 interceptions, and the Broncos lost to the Seahawks. And Washington Commanders rookie Jalen Daniels was just 17 of 24 with 184 yards. He had no touchdowns. He did run it pretty effectively. But we know how that ends, right? When quarterbacks just run and run and run like we know, you end up in the ER. Yeah, Washington lost to Tampa on Sunday. Hey, the NFL is tough. And playing quarterback is the single toughest position in all sports. It's no wonder that Caleb Williams was the first rookie to win his opener in a number of years, and honestly, he didn't really do anything. Today, our Daly Dose Top 5 is counting down the top 5 times a rookie quarterback won his Week 1 debut. And I'm telling you right now, we have to go back a ways. We start off at number 5, and we have to go clear back to the year 2012.
5.
Washington had gone 5-11 the previous season, which gave them the number 2 overall pick. Well, the Indianapolis Colts had the number 1 pick. They used it on Stanford quarterback Andrew Luck. So Washington selected Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin III. Hey, Griffin was so athletic. He could throw it. He had some serious wheels. Dude had run track at Baylor. Washington named Griffin the day 1 starter, and on opening day, they beat the New Orleans Saints 40-32, and Griffin looked like a star. He threw for 320 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and it wasn't just a Week 1 thing. Griffin went on to win the Rookie of the Year award. He threw 20 touchdowns with just 5 interceptions. Hey, Washington had finally found their franchise quarterback, except for one thing. Griffin also liked to run. And Griffin never learned the art of avoiding the big hit. He suffered injury after injury after injury. He only lasted as the true starter 2 seasons. He would be relegated to a backup role, and he would be out of the league after just a few years. Robert Griffin III did win his opening game. And for that, he comes in today at number 5. So we go to the very next season in 2013, and we reach another team that has been snake bit for years.
4.
Because we know the New York Jets can't have nice things. Do you realize that the Jets have had just 6 Pro Bowl quarterbacks in their entire history? And just 1 was a first-team All-Pro quarterback, and that, of course, is Joe Willie. So it is no wonder in 2013, when they used their second-round pick on yet another quarterback, West Virginia's Geno Smith, that they were hoping they found their guy. Well, Smith was thought by many to be a steal because he had been reasonably productive in college. So he came into New York. He beat out Matt Sims for the starting job. Okay, maybe not that impressive, but he was named the starter on day 1 again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Geno was pretty good that day. He threw for 256 yards. He had a touchdown. The Jets scraped past the Buccaneers 18-17. Okay. Well, did winning that opener translate to a great career? No. I mean, Geno has been okay. He is now 31-36 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He has somehow been to the Pro Bowl twice. He's still playing for Seattle. But as you can see, day 1 success doesn't always mean career success. Geno Smith comes in today at number 4. We reach number 3. And we go back to the 2015 season where the Tennessee Titans were trying to find a replacement for an aging Steve McNair, and they thought they had their guy. Because Marcus Mariota had shown flashes of being really good in college. He had led the Oregon Ducks to unprecedented success, and when he was available at the number 2 overall pick, the Titans grabbed him. So he beat out Zach Mettenberger in week 1, and against, again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mariota looked great. Well, maybe not great. But he had 109 yards. Okay, that doesn't sound great. He had 4 touchdowns. Yeah, Tennessee stomped Tampa 42-14. They had their guy. And then Tennessee won just 2 more games all year. Now, Mariota had some flashes, but he never really materialized. He was a full-time starter in the NFL for just 4 seasons. He's now a backup in Washington. But Marcus Mariota shined in his first game. He hasn't shined that much since. He comes in today on our list at number 3. So we reached number 2 on our list of rookie quarterbacks that won their week 1 debut. And we are now at the year 2016. So what, 8 seasons ago? Where the Philadelphia Eagles found themselves with the number 2 overall pick. They were looking for their franchise quarterback, and they decided to use that pick on North Dakota State's Carson Wentz. Sure, he had played at a small school, but Wentz looked like maybe he would be a star. He won the day 1 job and trounced the Cleveland Browns 29-10, and Wentz threw for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, Carson Wentz is going to be great. And he was pretty good for a while. But then again, he suffered a few injuries. And he just seemed to change when he suffered those injuries. He just never quite looked the same after that. I mean, you might not even know where he's at, but Carson Wentz is now Patrick Mahomes' backup in Kansas City. As a starter for his career, Carson Wentz is 47, 45, and 1. Just barely above 500. Again, a day 1 win did not equate to a career of success. Carson Wentz comes in today at number 2. So we reach the last quarterback prior to this past Sunday to Caleb Williams winning his first game. The last guy that actually won his week 1 debut as a rookie. And we go back to 2018, where once again, the New York Jets were trying to find their franchise quarterback. They used their number 3 overall draft pick on USC quarterback Sam Darnold. And right here is where we see the problem for so many of these guys. If you are starting in week 1, it probably means you're not on a great team. So you might not have a ton of help. You might not have a great coaching staff in place. You might not have a great defense. You might not have great skill positions around you. You might not have a great offensive line. And that was the case right here for Sam Darnold. He beat out Josh McCown for the starting job on day 1. And in week 1, he threw 2 touchdowns against the Detroit Lions, and the Jets blew out Detroit 48-17. But then reality sets in. And you start seeing better teams. And you don't have, 3 months to prep. And you start getting broken down. You start getting hit. You start seeing ghosts. You start feeling pressure. The Jets won just 3 more games all season. And Darnold would last just 3 seasons in New York. Of course, now he is up at Minnesota, where he looked okay this past weekend. But again, on Sunday, we had 3 teams start rookie quarterbacks. Only one of them actually won. And to be honest, none of them really looked all that great. But the simple fact is, the NFL is a graveyard for young quarterbacks. It is a really tough job. NFL defenses find ways to confuse you, and they are literally being paid to beat you up. Now, will any of these 3 guys end up being a bona fide NFL starter? I don't know. It won't be easy. And success in week 1, as you can see from our list today, really doesn't mean all that much. Only time is going to tell. Hey, next week on The Dose, I am working on something extra special for you. I have a guest that I'm chasing that has a very unique outlook on the world of football and a very unique outlook on life in general. Trust me, you will not want to miss it. Make sure you tune into The Dose and make sure you let a friend know to do the same. Hey, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to the Daly Dose every week. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the texts. Thank you for the tweets. Thank you for stopping by DailyDoseSports.com, where we do have new articles going up, as well as links of the podcast and links of the YouTube video. But more than anything, thank you for sharing the show, for sharing the videos, and for sharing the articles with someone that you know. We absolutely love it when you do that. Have to say thank you to JSP. Could not do any of this without you. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.